everybody, and welcome back to our mini YouTube series, which is tying into our Female Boss programme. So the Female Boss programme that we're creating through our British Business is in collaboration with the Royal Bank of Scotland, and it is, of course, to try and close the gender gap with young women in business, aged 18 to 30, to get more women, you know, starting up, thinking about business and out there running their own thing. And today we have a super female boss. And I really hope that you've got your empowerment pants on as well, by the way. This is like that. This is Sylvia Douglas, who runs an incredible business called MsMissMrs. So a very, very warm welcome to you, Sylvia.
Thank you, Lisa. Thanks very much for having me on, and hello to all the
hello everybody
new coming up female bosses.
Yay! So we're going to speak to Sylvia today a little bit about her background, what it's like for her running a business, you know, what she's learned through the process, and yeah, let's just get to know Sylvia a little bit better. So do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, Sylvia, you know, your background and how you got to where you are today?
Amazing, thanks, Lisa. And yeah, hello everybody again. It's always really, it's one of those things when you're talking on the camera, having a conversation, and so yeah, no, thank you so much. It's really good. I love talking about MsMissMrs, not so much on camera all the time though. So MsMissMrs is a social enterprise, and we're based in Glasgow. We work with women who've experienced trauma and maybe living in poverty, and that's our recovery piece of work, and we do preventative pieces of work working with girls 12 to 16 on self-esteem and well-being and empowerment. So yeah, and what I'll do is I'll just kind of like feed in and out as we have the conversation a wee bit more about what we do, why we do it, and some of the products and the challenges and the imposter syndrome and all the other stuff that go with setting up a business. And so yeah, I set up MsMissMrs 6 years ago with about 50 quid to get started. Wow. Yeah, so it was not a lot of money, and we didn't have a product at the time to sell, but I knew that I wanted to run these workshops for women and be able to create a safe space where women could explore things about healing and self-care and self-esteem, because often what happens is we talk about empowerment and about, you know, but if you don't have confidence and you don't have a belief sometimes in yourself, it's really, really difficult, you know, to take the next step in your journey. And so I wanted to set up these workshops, and I knew myself that actually for me they really worked. So I grew up in children's units, left school at 14, didn't have an education, became a young mum, so a lot of my life was taken up looking after Jem and just trying to kind of like survive. So no background in education or anything else like that, and was diagnosed as dyslexic in my late 20s when I went back to university to get my degree. So I wanted to work with other women that were very, very similar, because I knew that if we had a kind of methodology and working it out, then we would be able to change and transform things. So I had this idea, and I was working at the time, and I went to a funder and I said, listen, I've got this idea. I live in the area that I want to work in and different things like that. And they said to me, it's not really a viable business idea. You're going to have to sell something to make money. We can't just give you money for a workshop. So I went home, phoned my pal and cried for about 20 minutes because see the rejection. I think sometimes what happens is we don't start things because the fear of rejection is there.
Absolutely.
And that played a huge big part. So being vulnerable enough to go and share your idea, and then have somebody say you're going to have to go back to the drawing board and come up with some way of making money in the future. So, and my only experience of selling, although I think I was always a bit of thinking of selling and making money, and because I didn't have very much money, and you know, so you kind of get really good at stretching that out. So, and my first ever experience of selling anything was a packet of cigarettes when I was 13.
I love that.
Younger, but I'll go for 13. And I realised that there was things that I didn't have, so if I sold it individually, I'd be able to make a bit more money and things like that. So it was always a wee bit of a bit as a salesperson in me, and but it was, you know, for purpose. It was sales for purpose.
It's very entrepreneurial.
Yeah, I don't know if other people, adults, would have thought so right enough. I think I get in a lot of trouble because of what it was. Now, if it was something else, I might have been all right.
Sure.
So what I did was I went away, cried on the phone to my pal, and then I realised actually, well, the purpose of what I'm trying to do is more important. So I'm going to have to think of some of the things that I come up with. And that's where Empowerment Pants was born. So it was November, just before Christmas, and I thought, female empowerment, we've got Batman, Spider-Man, and all the men, superheroes, but not a lot of females.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a Singer sewing machine, some ribbon and some bits, can't sew, the pants had 3 legs. And fast forward, I had this pair of pants and pitched the idea for a loan for £25,000 and got it, and it was matched with a grant, and then we started the production of the first empowerment pants. We got a group of women together in the local community centre, and we made 2,000 pairs.
2,000?
Yeah,
Wow.
we've sold about 46,000 pairs of empowerment pants.
Now that is amazing.
That's not bad, eh?
That is really great.
So it's always fun when folks stop email you to say, oh, by the way, I was wearing your pants today, and I'm like, okay, that's great, it's brilliant. So as a not-for-profit, obviously the money going back in, and I'll tell you a funny thing. So the first time we marketed it was Sloan's Market in Glasgow. I don't know if you know it, but cobble streets, and it was Christmas, 2 weeks, we took the first stand, it was 300 quid. The rain was like coming down, and there was a guy across from us in the stall selling "See You Jimmy" hats and tea towels. Amazing. And he said to me, what is that? I says, we're not for profit. And he says, well, I'll tell you something, Hen. He said, you're not going to make any profit out of them. They're not going to sell here. And we sold out. We sold out. It was like, so it was great. Yeah, so that's when Empowerment Pants were born, and we took a loan, and we've taken a mixture of investment, I think about £100,000 in investment and loans to get the business started. That's not always necessary, but it's been matched quite a lot with grants and things like that, so it's been really good. Anyway, because there's the lots of different things.
I could genuinely, and I would imagine the audience could probably just sit and listen to you speak all day, because you're like a total superhero and you're absolutely female boss. You're so cool. Had you ever thought, like, I mean, obviously selling, cigarettes at age 13, there was entrepreneurial spirit in there somewhere. But when you actually had the idea, to set up something, had you ever thought about where it would be, where it is now? Because, I mean, you've been running for 12 years now, and this is what you do, and you've built up something that's so fantastic, and you've helped so many women. Had there ever been something in your head that this is exactly what I want to do? Or is it just kind of expanded or just growing?
I think no, I never thought when we started. So yeah, where would we be, years down the line, and new products and services and buildings and different things like that. But I think probably when I was 13 selling cigarettes, I always knew that there was, like, I loved like the markets and the baras and things like that, and I always watched things like being sold and stuff, but I never anticipated that we would be where we are now. But I suppose for me, the social enterprise has been led by women, so we listen to what women are telling us, and if you're living in poverty, or you've come out of abusive relationships, or you've had trauma in your childhood, or so we listen to what women are telling us they might need to achieve and accomplish the things that is good for them. So it's been directed by lots of that, but I absolutely love coming up with products and services that we can sell, because I know that the more money we make, the more impact we can have. So that's kind of where, that's really the drive for me, because I get the buzz of seeing the impact on those women and girls and their families. So that's a real driving force for me to continually like build new products, and so definitely money. But at 13, and I love, that's the thing about you guys that I really love, is that I never had never business background or anything like that, but I never liked school very much, if that makes sense. My head was always on all these great ideas of all this, lots of things. Now I went back to college to study and learn reading and writing and different things like that. But I always had a different mindset, and I think this is the thing, that education's not for everybody, and you kind of homing and harnessing that real entrepreneurial so I got a buzz out of selling cigarettes at 13, and then pants and lots of other stuff. So
that's so great.
But marketing, I think, is really important as well. It's
Yeah.
how you kind of market. And I was really lucky because people have been incredible to us. I mean, like really incredible. Like they've really, you know, we've had lots of support from people in the sector who's really escalated our voice and what we're doing and buying our products and talking to each other about it and stuff, and giving me advice and, you know, support. So I've been really lucky because we've been championed by, you know, and who doesn't like the empowerment pants is a bit of a giggle behind a really serious message. So it's marketing for that was really fun.
Yeah, absolutely. That's absolutely, that's amazing. You obviously, you know, you've impacted so many women, you know, out throughout the 12 years that you've been running MsMissMrs, and you know, what would be if you were to sum it up, I'm sure there's many of them, but what's your biggest achievement to date? If you were to say, what are you really proud of?
Oh,
it's a hard one.
Yeah,
it can be more than one thing.
It's quite, I suppose for me, one of the things that I really love is when I get the opportunity to see a woman just really flourish and grow, and we've had lots of experience of that, them finding their path, whether into work or, you know, whatever that may be. I think there is so many, yeah, there's so many of them, but for me it's about women evolving and growing, because see, the thing is, a lot of the women that we know, there's just this incredible gift inside them, but actually what happens is life gets kind of like on top, so it pushes it down and down and down and down. So I think for me, one of the biggest is like when you get to see that explode and you get to watch real passion and excitement and hope and all these amazing things that happen as a result of them kind of getting the opportunity just to unleash who they've always meant to be. So and watch that impact on their families. Like we've got to know some of their kids, and you know, just like all of that has been absolutely incredible. But in a business point, I think my highlight has been I suppose getting invited to some swanky dinners. I think the one of the things was we were just like in February at the Hunter Foundation dinner with David Attenborough, which was amazing.
That. I've seen that on some social media platforms. I was so jealous. I love him.
It was amazing, but I had a nice dress on and a pair of trainees. I had to change. Comfort first.
Comfort first, 100%.
I had to change. So I suppose launching Get Set and it becoming accredited was another highlight as well. So yeah, there's been lots of different things. So we've got 3 buildings. I'm just trying to think how we do it. So we've got 3 buildings. So we're in the Wellbeing Hub just now. So this is a space that facilitates workshops and well-being and yoga and meditation, or lots of things. So it does lots of things here. And then we've got a space called Unruly Curiosity, which is where for kids.
That's a really cool name.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it? Yes. So a place where children lead, that's our strapline. And then we've got Femme Foods. So Femme Foods is a purpose-built kitchen. We bought the building at auction and we renovated it, and it's a gorgeous space. And what happens is women get together, they pay £20 and they batch cook their family's meals for the whole entire week to freeze it. And we've got some partnerships around finances, so it's about savings and cooking and connection, and then we can support with other bits that go on. But it's a gorgeous space. I mean, like really beautiful space. But we opened it 2 weeks before COVID.
Yeah, I was just about to say, actually, that's a relatively new part of your business, isn't it?
Yeah.
What was that like trying to set that up?
Well, this is the thing about setting up businesses. I learn better doing. I just don't think there's anything for it. And I'd never put in for building warrants and managed a kind of a build or dealing with builders and different things like that, you know. And I am a woman, so sometimes some of the builders thought maybe I didn't know as much or whatever. But I did my research and
you're smart cookie. That was one of the questions I was going to ask you. You know, what barriers have you came across being a female in business or women in business? This is obviously one of them.
Yeah, so that was one, and especially with Femme Foods setting up in builders and just the technicality and the conversations and things that were going on. So we opened 2 weeks before COVID, and Aileen Cabell came. So we were all set for the first programmes, and then it never happened, but we ended up utilising the space and made about 15,000 meals. And
wow.
gift bags and just goodies like for families that just couldn't get out, like taking care of the whole week of food and provisions and things, so that mum at home could just spend time with our wee people and there was less stress and things like that. So we were able to do lots of that. So I think we were given about £20,000. We spent £20,000 in a few weeks in getting resources to families. So it was great. It was great that we were able to pivot.
That's incredible. You're so great. Like, you're doing so many amazing things.
Listen,
You're so inspiring.
Loads of amazing, like there's just like I'm really lucky because at the moment, like you guys chatting and things like that, but actually there's so many incredible women out there doing amazing things, you know, and I think sometimes we don't always get the recognition, and for me that's not the important bit, because if the world disappeared, would I still do it? I would still do it. And I think the thing is, that's when the hard days come in, and the imposter syndrome, and I don't know how many times I have sat and gone, I don't know if I can do this anymore. Like, this is just so difficult, because learning about accounts and but actually it's grown my confidence because of lots of mistakes that I've made and lots of things that I've had to ask for. And I don't know about you, Lisa, but I sometimes really struggle to ask for help. It's one of my big things, and I work on it really, really hard. And some of the women that we know says to me, you know, Sylvia, you're really good at giving it, so like, just let us do it. And that was a really big thing for me, because I thought, well, if I ask for help, people might think I don't know what I'm doing, and it might do this, but actually we need people. We need people, and there's a real kind of growth in that vulnerability of asking for help. So I've asked for help lots of times, and normally from women and folks that are further down the journey than me, so that I can just get a wee bit of advice. And on the days when I'm feeling really like, I don't know if I can do this, and I think we're in the middle of a global pandemic at the minute, and you know yourself, we've all had to adjust our businesses, and I've seen a boom in online businesses, which is incredible, and new businesses being registered, and which is amazing, because there's a necessity and a need. And that's, I think, when mindset comes in, because you think, right, I can't do this one thing, and your brain almost scrambles to go, right, well, how can we do it? How can we readjust it to, so you're finding yourself in new markets and new marketing, and utilising spaces and things like that. So in the days, like especially through the global pandemic, and days where I just think, oh my God, what am I doing? This is just, I don't know if I can do this anymore. Are we making the impact? But I've still got to bring money in, and my team's welfare is really important as well, because it was just me for a very long time. And then in the last 6 years, we've, you know, employed folks, and young women with lived experience have become employees, and so managing and supporting their well-being, plus taking care of my own, because ultimately as a female boss, you're driving it. So and I like to be honest with my team when I'm not in a good place, and I'll say, listen, I'm not in a really good place today. I don't, you know, and they're really amazing, so they'll pick it up, and we'll work together in making it a wee bit easier. And there's been lots of talk about self-care. So, you know, bubble baths and stuff for me are only when I'm feeling good. I can't get in a bubble bath when I'm feeling really rubbish. So that's for me, picking up the phone and saying, listen, how you doing? Tell me about what's happening in your world, because that then gets me out of my own head, and allows me space to start to look at maybe some of the solutions and some of the focuses that I need to put myself back on. So I love it, but it's challenging, because you're working with partners and taking care of your team and premises. And so for my kitchen table, we've now got 3 buildings and 3 spaces.
I mean, that's honestly incredible. I mean, I totally agree with the self-care part of it. I mean, running a business is not easy. It comes with highs and lows often, you know, and it's really important to make sure that you don't burn yourself out, and that you have a good support network around you, whether that be, you know, friends, family, mentors as well, you know, having an amazing mentor, just people you're able to just phone, and if you're having a cry or having a mini meltdown, but even to celebrate the successes that you have as well. Like, it's really important, because you know, you'll know that running a business can be a lonely thing to do, because not everybody understands, you know, what it's like. So you need a good support network around you to do that.
And I'm really lucky. I've got incredible women who
Mm-hmm.
have, you know, like I met at the very beginning, who have been real ambassadors and been able to chat to and just have that, you know, kind of encouragement and belief. And so it is, and it is a very lonely place because you are the one carrying the responsibility for so much. So it is important to self-care, and that is about networks socially, as well as mentally having tools in place and emotionally being able to share things. You know, and so yeah, it's, and physically, even your environment that you're working in, as well as ensuring that right now, because lots of people are working from home, is that your environment supports that, that it mentally allows you the space to be creative or have your meetings and things like that. So kind of looking at all of those aspects. But yeah, I wouldn't work for anybody else now, and I probably shouldn't say that, because actually there might come a time when actually I would like to like the women for running the spaces, and for me to go get a job. It's like, but I don't know how that would be now that I've always worked for, in the last 6 years I've worked for myself.
Oh no, absolutely. That is a massive adjustment. If you've been self-employed for a short period of time or a long period of time and you have to end up working, it's weird. It is weird.
Yeah, I would imagine. I think that would be, yeah, it would be a bit of a challenge.
What is I mean, obviously you've got so many experiences, you know, you've did a lot so far, you've made an impact to so many people's lives. And, you know, if you were to give like one piece of advice to one of the students or all of the students who are going to be watching this, and, you know, what would you say to them if you want to start a business? So what would be your one piece of advice to them?
Probably what everyone would say is just do it. Because see, the thing is, I know that sounds really cliche, but see, until you're doing it, you because it's back to what we talked about early on. It's like fear will stop that. So you find a million different reasons, and it's just like, and even if you've got, you know, I kept my job for some time at the beginning while I was setting up the project, because of just the financial security, until I was in a space where I knew that I would have enough to make some money. But it's doing it. I don't think there's ever going to be a right time. And I think, you know, that kind of chatterbox in your head will tell you 99 different reasons why not to. But see, inside, it never goes. And I'm kind of one that I don't like living with regret. So it's actually, you know, go for it, start a conversation in it, you know, get as much knowledge as you possibly can, and then make a full decision about what you do. And obviously for me, I kept my job and did some bits on it, and then I was a year later, I quit. And so you can do it really staggered, really staged. It doesn't have to be something so, you know, if you're studying and you want to do something on the side, it's like, that's a really good starting point. And you know, get loads of information, and, you know, connect with advisors and just talk. But I think probably the biggest thing is just do it, because it's amazing what you'll learn and what you grow out of it. And we talk about self-esteem and confidence. I would have never got that had I not just had done it, you know. And it's not every day's perfect, and I don't, you know, fly, oh, it's great, I'm feeling so lovely and fabulous, let's do it, bring it on. You know, it's like I go into a meeting, or I'm doing some or training or whatever, and I go, oh my God, what if this isn't right? And, you know, it's like, so, but yeah, to have the conversation, just start it, you know, it's like, and get guidance and things, and then make your full decision.
It's just about the baby steps. It's not like you have to take a big massive leap into something. It's just take your time, you know, do what's right for you, and do your research, make sure you're covering all bases, that you're learning through the process. Like, just even having that initial conversation, that's you making steps to starting up. And then once you start having that conversation, things then end up growing arms and legs, and then before you know it, you're running your business.
Exactly,
you know?
Exactly. And the thing is, something you said earlier, Lisa, which was so important, is about celebrating successes. So that's the thing as well, because we're often like, sometimes what happens for me is that I'm so busy in it that I don't stop to go, oh my God, we've just done that, or we've got investment, or we've just paid back a loan, which we've done twice now. So, but, or things like that. But actually just even the smallest of things, to say, well, I've registered with Companies House, or I've had the conversation. And it's like, because that's the things that fuel us, and we're not often that great at it, is to do the, you know, when I phoned my friend that day crying to say, oh, I never got the £500 to do the pilot, her words to me were, well, but you went for the meeting. So
Absolutely.
that's the thing. So it's the next part you need to do. So yeah, have the conversation and celebrate the fact that you're even thinking about starting a business.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it is scary. You know, you're taking a leap into something that you might not have ever done before. But it is just trying
and
to,
it might fail.
Absolutely. And you know what, if it does, oh well, what's the worst thing that can happen?
Totally. But how much learning has happened as a result of that? And so many women that I know started businesses and they failed, and they're now running another business that's become quite successful. So and I failed millions of times, started things that never worked. My first workshop, I thought, oh, I'll do a buffet for 30 women. And there was 2 women came.
Oh, you're joking.
Yeah. So that, and I just you just keep on keeping on. And then last year or the year before, I can't even remember, last year because COVID came. And
I know, I keep doing exactly the same.
It's like we've met hundreds of women, and it's like we kind of like from that small acorns, you know, it's like, so yeah. And if you fail, you fail. I've brought products out that just went like that, and actually I've learned. So the next time I do something a wee bit different.
And the learning part of it is just so important. You know, you're learning by doing. I'm a learn by doing kind of gal. You're definitely a learn by doing kind of gal. You know, it's just about taking that step. And if it doesn't work out, then, you know, you take what you've learned and put it into the next thing, and you'll probably do it a little bit better. But at the end of the day, nobody ever starts out as an expert. So everyone's got to start somewhere. And it's just being confident enough for you to just take that teeny weeny step to have that conversation, explore that idea a little bit, and then be on things like this, like the Female Boss program. That's what we're trying to do. We're not looking for young women to have big, massive business ideas right now. We're, you know, start small, get the confidence, let people support and help you. That's what we're all about right now. That's what we're trying to do.
And you need that. And there's nothing more. I don't think there's anything more powerful than women being together and exploring ideas and being honest about when things like imposter syndrome comes in, or not feeling good enough, or your idea is maybe better than my idea, or you're making more money, so therefore I'm failing. Or
I know.
And it's really hard, because we were talking about that in terms of like some of my friends have social enterprises or mainstream businesses, and they were like, you can be quite competitive with each other because you're so insecure sometimes about doing the right things. And we were laughing about it. We're like, that actually, we need to be allies with each other. But Stephen, just having that conversation, it was really freeing, because it just takes away so much of its power by just being honest about things like that. So the Female Boss, amazing to have like a program developed and designed specifically for women to explore that, but also to support each other, which is just incredible. And the great thing about that is, as well, as you never know where that journey is going to go. It might be that actually you think, well, actually I'm not wanting to set up a business at the minute, but actually I could support other women who are setting up a business, or, you know, I'm setting up a business and I could do this. And so who knows? It's just putting yourself in the arena and seeing what happens.
Building a network, you know, building a network of people around you who can help you, whether it be now or further down the line. But even you could end up meeting someone that you could end up running a business together with. Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to be alone to do it. So yeah, having a great network of women and people in general is really important.
Oh no, completely. And I've been really, and like that, I've been really lucky, because lots of organizations or funded organizations and women, and I've always been so heavily supported in terms of encouragement, and just and it gives you a bit of a boost, because I'll get an email from someone, it'll be a woman setting up a social enterprise, it'll be an introduction that's made from an incredible woman who I've known since I started, and she's like, I think you two should talk. You know, and it's like, and see that the beauty of that, where people make connections with each other to support. It's just been, and that has allowed me to be able to find a safe space to talk about some of the challenges, and see when women say back to me, oh, I've had that too, you know, and it's like, and the identification that happens between the two of us, just like, and then I go off in my call and I think, God, I'm not alone on this. So it gives me almost like a bit of fuel just to do the next bit and the next bit.
Absolutely.
So it's exciting you guys are doing that. So I would just Yeah, it'll be exciting to see what happens.
I know, I'm really excited. Who knows what's going to happen? What amazing business ideas are going to come out of this? And how many of the students are going to develop themselves, whether it actually be running a business, but even like developing themselves personally for employability or anything like that. There's just so much that you can gain from this. Oh, Sylvia, I could honestly sit and speak to you forever. You're so great. And thank you so much for doing this. We really, really appreciate it. I'll ask you one last question before we round it up. And you've kind of already answered it about the bubble bath thing, but I would love to know like what you do in your downtime to relax and stuff, like, because I know you're all about self-care, looking after yourself. So apart from your lovely bubble baths, what kind of things do you do just to chill out?
Yeah, the lovely bubble baths is normally when I'm feeling really, really good. So I have a toddler. She's 2. So back physical, social, emotional. So like connect with friends on the phone, or sometimes just I like my own space. So that kind of allows me to, like, because I'm so busy, I like to retreat a wee bit. So I spend at least a day a week when I don't work with anybody else and I don't do anything else other than spend time kind of filling my own soul, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
So just reading, or like listening to, like there's a great podcast, How to Fail. So I'll listen to that. I'll listen to audiobooks and just things that kind of reinvigorate me. And when I'm with my toddler, I dance to CBeebies, because play is so important. Because sometimes if I don't do that, like we'll do stupid things, like just like a bit crazy dancing in the morning while we're getting ready. And it's just simple things like that. It's just like, it's mentally keeping myself in a good place and, going for a walk. But it's knowing what works for you, and downtime for me, not having anybody in my space for the one day a week, just so that I can recalibrate. And that might be watching Netflix, or it might be reading a podcast, or listening to podcasts, or whatever else like that. But I do it every day, a bit of self-care, and that might just be sometimes being honest about where I'm at if I'm not having a great day, and reaching out to somebody, or so there's power in that, because it kind of like it loses it. So yeah, bits of that. And my work is another big part of my self-care, because I get a buzz out of when I spend time with women. We're running workshops, or we're talking, and that connection is like, there's nothing like it for me, because it just takes me to a place I'm like, we are just doing this. So that's a huge part.
That's so cool. I love that. Oh, thank you so much, Sylvia. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you today.
Thank you. Listen, Lisa, it was brilliant to chat to you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and good luck to everybody. And great. It'll be exciting to see what happens. Female boss.
Yes.
Brilliant, Lisa. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.